Well, this will or should make you sick to your stomach. There's news tonight the U.S. military is spending $34 million on new headquarters in Afghanistan. What's the problem with that? Well, we're not going to use it. U.S. forces are withdrawing from Afghanistan. This $34 million, 64,000 square foot headquarters will never be used. Senator Rand Paul joins us. Good evening, sir.
Hey, Greta.
You know, how does this happen, Senator?
You know, I'd like to say it surprises me, but you know, we also spent $80 million on a consulate in Mashar al-Sharif, a little city up in the northern part of Afghanistan, in an embassy or a consulate that will never be used also, because it's in an area that could be shot from surrounding buildings. So we do a lot of things. Do you know that the State Department also spent $650,000 on Facebook ads to try to get more people to like them? So this is throughout government, and it infuriates people.
You know, it should infuriate people. I know I asked to pull up some records from my staff. We have 833,130 pending VA compensation claims. We've got soldiers who have served us overseas, and we can't bother to process their compensation claims, but we can waste $80 million on a consulate that we turn out not to use. It was $45 million on a facility to fix armored vehicles that we're not going to use. $34 million on the 64,000 square foot. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Doesn't anybody give a damn?
Well, the thing is I asked Hillary Clinton repeatedly, why would you not provide security for the ambassador in Benghazi? Why didn't you protect our ambassador? And she's like, oh, the Republicans didn't give me any money. Well, why did she spend $650,000 on Facebook ads, or $100,000 she spent sending 3 comedians to India on a Make Chi Not War tour? So our government is riddled with waste from top to bottom, and the one lesson of the sequester is that there's a lot of fluff that can be cut out before we actually have to get to things that are important, like paying our soldiers, providing for our wounded soldiers. All of that needs to be done, and if you cut out all the extra stuff we're doing, we'd have plenty of money to take care of our soldiers.
This should absolutely outrage the American people, and I think it's not just the top, but we should find out who's the State Department employee or Defense Department employee who did the final authorization on these things, because somebody must have some sense. I mean, there's got to be someone who doesn't just think it's okay to do this kind of stuff.
We spent $1.8 million on developing roll-up beef jerky, and that came out of the Pentagon's budget. We spent $5 million studying the golden fish to study the collective action of fish out of the military budget. Don't get me started on Homeland Security grants. I have to do this. 13 snow cone machines at a cost of $11,000 went to Western Michigan as part of Homeland Security.
All right. Well, let me switch to another topic, and that's Egypt. When President Obama in 2009 went to Egypt to speak to the people, the Muslim world, and to sort of try to bridge the problem between the two worlds, that didn't work out too well. And now we've got a situation going on in Egypt. Is it a military coup or not? Because that's a very specific question for a very specific reason.
Well, you know, even to debate whether it's a military coup is sort of a ridiculous debate. Without question, it's a military coup, but the legislation actually goes one step farther. It says if the military was instrumental in getting rid of a democratically elected government, even if it's not replaced by a military junta. So in this case, no matter who they put in, the military did depose Morsi. Now, I was no fan of Morsi. I wasn't for giving Morsi any money or tanks or arms, but I'm not even any more a fan of the military. So the law says explicitly the president can't give them any more money. But that's what's the thing about this president. He thinks he's above the law. And this should really trouble Americans, because you have an IRS that's attacking on going after Americans because of their religious or political beliefs. And now you have a president who says, oh, well, I'm not going to obey the law, even though Congress told me I can't give money to Egypt. I'm going to do it anyway because, hey, I'm the president and I'm above the law. That's a problem.
I don't know how, I don't know how anyone can call this anything but a military coup. And regardless of whether Morsi was a bad guy and needed to get out of there, at some point, we have to sort of sit down and be sensible. Maybe we should change our law. Maybe we should do something. But sort of a callous disregard is not a good signal.
Well, the thing is I'm not a fan of foreign aid, period. But if you're going to give foreign aid, shouldn't you make it conditional upon behavior? For example, Iraq's getting a lot of our money, but they've been letting Iran fly over their country. So the thing is shouldn't we say to Iraq, we're not giving you money? You're supposedly our ally if you're going to let Iran fly over your airspace. Even John Kerry appeared to support that in a committee. But I'm the same way with Egypt. They just recently indicted 16 Americans and would put them in prison if they could get their hands on them. And this is the country we're continuing to give money. I think foreign aid at the very least ought to be contingent upon behavior.
Well, or at least I think it'll be at least contingent on following the bare minimum of the law that we set, that we've all agreed upon. Senator, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Greta.
Now